I miss being home where I will be running around the house saying, "We're going live." So I had to call mom and whisper, "We're going live." Ah. So it's 12:30 a.m. here, and we are live. The most precious gift that you can give. That's what we're talking about today. Welcome back to Antonia's Blissful Corner, your quiet space for reflection, growth, and peace. I'm Antonia. Hey, welcome. Dang it. Sorry. Well, before we get going, sorry. Before we get going, I'm sitting on the bed. Please remember to pick up a copy of my book, Unlocking the Introvert, a pocket guide to understanding and interacting with introverts. It is available at societyofintroverts.com, Amazon, and everywhere books are sold online. If this is your first time here, kindly subscribe so that you do not miss the next reflection. I will note that this was a journey that began 49 days ago. Today's day 49. It was inspired by a video that I saw on the Think Media podcast. And Michael Zuber was a guest, and he spoke about going live for 50 days straight when he started out, because I think he said his first year was kind of like not much, not much traction. And so he challenged himself in his second year, I think it was his second year, to go live for 50 days. When I saw that video, I thought to myself, 50 days, I cringed. And I was like, nah. And I contemplated. And I think by the next day or 2 days later, I decided, okay, I'm going to do it, but I'm only going to do 25 days because 50 days just felt like a whole lot to bite off at once, right? So I did the 25 days, and then I decided to continue to go. And now I'm at day 49, and I'm very proud of myself and grateful that I decided to commit to doing this thing. And um, it didn't matter where I was. So I did it while I was in Jamaica, and I'm doing it here again now. And it's funny because on my way here, I thought to myself, but 7:30 p.m. is 12:30 a.m. there. What am I going to do? And I decided I'm going to thug it out. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm grateful. Grateful to be able to do this, and I'm grateful that you have accompanied me on this journey. Hey, so let's get into it. There's a quote by Nelson Mandela that shaped my entire morning today. He said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived, it is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead." I actually did my morning affirmation message on my Instagram. I am Antonia Allen. I have a few. I am Antonia Allen. I am the introvert whisperer in t-shirts and denim. But that was the message that I did my affirmation morning message on this morning, because it was powerful, right? And today that quote came to life in such a simple, quiet way. This morning, I walked with my uncle to his general practitioner. It was just the two of us. We had to go and get um, he needed to get like a simple procedure done. But the way that they do it here is so weird because we went and they told him, no, he has to go back to the chemist. It was like this whole rigmarole. And I felt bad because I'm like, this man is 90 years old. And it just seemed so confusing. But I'm grateful that I'm here. And if not, then he would have had, like someone else who actually lives here that would be able to go with him. But thankfully I'm here, um, staying at his house. So I'll be able to help him get it done before I leave to go back to the States. Anyway, it was just the two of us on this walk this morning, going at a slow pace, easy conversation. He's stubborn, as most of us are when we get older, because it's cold in New York, right? And I come here very frequently, but I will never get used to the cold in England because it just feels so, it's like it's going through my bones. But before we left, I said to my uncle, "Aren't you wearing a coat?" Because he had on like a little light coat, acting like it's fall outside. And he was like, "No, man, me good, me all right." Okay. I asked him a couple times, but bad kids, because I feel like that's the thing with life, right? We're kids, and then we get to an adult, and we basically go back down. So anyway, we get about 2 blocks up the road, and he was like, "Oh, it's cold," and I was like, "Yeah, it is." But by then, I knew he wouldn't want to turn back, so I had to, gently encourage him to at least zip up the coat. Um, but anyway, that's the conversation. Like, so basically, that's the relationship that I have with my uncle, right? So after going to the general practitioner, we went to the grocery store, and when we came back home, shortly after that, I got ready to prepare today's dinner, right? And you know what? Something about that moment touched me deeply, right? Because for years, like mommy and I used to come to England together. She abandoned me this time and decided not to come, but it's okay. I'll be fine. Um, but we would travel here, and my auntie, one of mama's oldest sisters, would never let us cook, right? It's auntie's thing was like, you're my guest. So therefore, like, she didn't want us in the kitchen. She didn't want us to cook. So the most that I could do, the most that she allowed me to do was to set the table. So when her son was alive, her son is actually, I spoke about in a previous episode about my cousin who was pretty much like we were attached like this, like we were besties, right? And sadly, he passed away in a car accident a number of years ago. But he and I would basically be at the door, at the kitchen door, waiting for her to tell us what to do, bring out the plates, bring out the forks, and whatever have you, and basically bring out the meals. So for me today, preparing a meal for my uncle in her absence felt very sacred. I actually thought about it before I got here, and I asked his nephew, who doesn't live far, to get the groceries. He didn't get everything that I needed, so that's why we ended up going to the grocery store today. But I actually felt like I was honoring her, I was honoring him, and honoring this small pocket of time that God allowed me to have with him, right? Moments like this make me grateful for the way that God wired me to care, to serve, to show compassion through presence, right? Because we don't often take time out in this way. But I'm also aware of something else. There was a season in my life where I gave so much of myself, I had nothing left for me. I spoke about that in a few episodes ago when mommy kissed her teeth and told me, "Oh, every Saturday's club, club, club," right? It was during that time, right? So there was that time when I was a part, that was a time when I was a part of the women's professional club. And it was a beautiful group of Black women who did their thing. When I tell you, like, I just felt like I was elevated, right? Because these are women that worked in various sectors. And I loved being in their presence because they had this air about them of prestige, right? For me, like it was truly an amazing experience. They had wisdom, like their experience. Because the thing about it is when someone experienced something, and they share it, you're like, wow. It's like it is truly amazing, right? These women carried history. And I absolutely loved enjoyed being a part of the community because I got to assist them in so many ways. Like before I joined the club, they had no one to serve in the technology capacity. So that was me. Like I was their tech girl. But then I was able to offer other things also. Like I did their flyers, and then I offered assistance throughout the other clubs in the district. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Leaving that organization, because of course, when we say, well, if it was so great, why you leave? It wasn't a planned thing. It was like I got up one day and decided I can't do this anymore. And it wasn't that I didn't want to do it, but it's just that I didn't have the capacity. I don't even know how I'm trying to position this thing. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is live, guys. This is live. It just seemed very off. But anyway, hopefully that's better. But anyway, leaving the organization, it wasn't planned. And for a little bit, I did feel bad. I really did. And a piece of me, because you know what? I feel as if like I did the Irish exit thing, but deep down in my heart, I know that someday it's possible that I might return. I just know that it's not now. right? And it happened because I started to look at how much of myself I was giving away. That moment with mom on that Saturday, I heard her. Like, even though at the time I was laughing, I heard her, right? Because then it made me realize how little I was keeping from my own well being and how stretched thin I felt emotionally, spiritually, physically. And church was the same way. I said yes to way too many things, way too many times, all the time. I volunteered for too many ministries. And before I knew it, burnout had quietly crept up and sat beside me like, hey girl. And I'm like, go, go away. Introverts don't talk about this enough. We give deeply, we serve quietly, we show up consistently, we pour from places people didn't even know we're pouring from, right? And because we aren't loud about it, people often assume, oh, we're fine. She's fine. She can handle it. And it's like, no, they assume that we don't need rest. I mean, I guess sometimes when I get 3 hours sleep and they see that I'm the energizer bunny, but that's beside the point, right? Because I'm trying to honor whatever commitments I made, right? They assume that we can handle one more thing. They really do. Oh, you can do this. You're a superstar. No, I'm not. I never said it out loud, though. I never said, no, I'm not out loud. I just quit. But giving without boundaries will empty you just as quickly as giving with love. With the same, giving without boundaries can um, uh, empty you just as quickly as giving with the when you give without boundary, it will fill you just as quickly as giving with love. The way that love can fill you. You know what I'm trying to say. So today felt special for a different reason. I wasn't showing up um, for or out of obligation. I wasn't serving because I felt guilty. I wasn't pouring from depletion. I was giving my uncle the most precious gift that anyone can give, and that is time. It costs nothing to spend time with people, right? It costs nothing to show someone that they matter. It costs nothing to pour love into someone who feels unloved, right? And I think that's something that is unique to us because we know the feeling. I was giving from a healthier place, a place where I'm learning that compassion doesn't mean self sacrifice, and loving others doesn't mean that I'm abandoning myself. When my uncle got a little frustrated this morning when we were preparing to go out, I saw that he was like, his face just looked very disturbed. And I was like, what's wrong? And he was like, he was frustrated and annoyed with himself. And he was like, I keep misplacing things and it's because I'm getting old. And I'm like, getting old? Dude, you're 90. Getting, you're there. And I laughed and I said to him, Uncle, please. I always forget. I'm always forgetting something somewhere, forgetting where I put this or the other. He was like, really? And I was like, yes. And I think hearing that, it kind of helped him to ease the burden that he was putting on himself and ease his spirit a little, right? It softened him for the moment because then a few minutes later it was back to the same, right? But I think that it reminded him that he wasn't alone, right? Because I think that senior citizens apply pressure to themselves because they don't want to be a burden. And it's sad that they actually even have to think that way because I feel like no one has ever said those words, right? But I know for me, I don't ask anyone to do anything for me. And it's because of just that. Like I don't want to bother people, right? And people don't like when I say that to them. And honestly, I don't like when they say to me, like if I have like a family member who needed something, whatever have you, and then they finally build up the courage to ask or to call, whatever. And they were like, but I didn't want to call. I'm like, why? Like, I didn't want to bother you because I know you're busy. I'm like, don't be using that as your excuse. That's ridiculous. you know? But I understand him. And I think that's the thing about introverts is that we do understand people's behaviors because we can identify. And what that really impacted was that it was not a loud moment, right? And the thing about it is like it's not in public, like it's not the big gestures. The impact is presence, impact is patience, impact is kindness, impact is reassuring someone that they matter. And I know that uncle knows that I love him. Like before I got here, his nephew um said that he told him, Anne is paying XYZ. He don't know how much I paid, but he just mentioned, that I'm paying money to come on a plane to come miles to see him. And it was a point that he was trying to make. Like, I don't look at it that way because I actually love to come to England to visit. This is the first time that I didn't let anybody know that I was coming. Only my uncle knew and his nephew. And that is it. And my mom, right? Because the whole idea was this was not meant to be a vacation. I'm not trying to go visit anybody because it's a short stay, right? And so I'm grateful to have the opportunity to have alone time with him. Like it's literally just me and uncle, right? So I can get up in the morning, make him breakfast, and kind of help him to remember what it was like when my aunt was here. So those are the things that matter to me. Those are the things that I can walk away and said I did that. Not to brag or boast or anything like that, but like just to know that I made a difference in someone's life, if it's even for a few moments. Few moments. Um, I was thinking today about neighbor because sometimes we reserve helping people for whatever reason, right? We're thinking, oh, well, I don't know that person. That's a stranger. I'm not going to do that. And the thing is like, but why not? Right? Because I remember in the Bible when the lawyer asked Jesus, and who is my neighbor? Right? Because sometimes people think your neighbor is the neighbor next door. And I actually didn't know that story until the priest at my church spoke about it years ago. And he was like, he just asked a general question to the congregation, who's your neighbor? And I was thinking, Jerry. I really did. Right. And then he basically went into it and he said, um, that your neighbor is anyone, right? Jesus didn't give a definition. He gave a story that showed your neighbor isn't just the person living next door. Your neighbor is anyone, anywhere whose path crosses yours and needs compassion, kindness, or care. And today reminded me that even after seasons of burnout, seasons of overgiving, and seasons where I didn't know how to set boundaries, God is still teaching me how to give in a way that honors others and honors me. Because even though I'm giving of myself to them, they're also allowing me to do that, right? They're allowing me in their space. And that brings me back to Mandela's words. The significance of our life is found in the difference we make. And sometimes the difference we make is quiet, gentle, private, and deep, deeply meaningful. If this reflection touched you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it today, right? And please don't forget to grab my book, Unlocking the Introvert, a pocket guide to understanding and interacting with introverts. It is available at societyofintroverts.com, Amazon, and everywhere books are sold online. I mean, Black Friday is a couple days away. I'm not having a Black Friday sale because I'm still trying to figure this thing out. But please know it is indeed a small book. Um, one of these days I'm going to do because one of my soul sisters on YouTube actually does a great job of promoting it for me. So I'm gonna learn how to do that. But the book is kind of like this, filled with little tips about introverts and how to basically how to travel with introverts, how to live with an introvert. Cute little tips that will help you, the introvert, to understand yourself better. And also, you can just get a second one and give it to a friend. It makes a great stocking stuffer, and it literally is a pocket size book. Actually, you can put it in your back pocket, depending on how size your back pocket is. But anyway, I thank you for joining me today on this day 49. It's so exciting that we did 49 days already. Woo, woo, woo. If you are new here, please go back and watch the full 49 days that I've done thus far of this live. I am very grateful that I found that video with Michael Zuber talking about it, because up until then I hadn't gone live on my channel by myself before. And this kind of helped to pull me out of my comfort zone and do this thing, right? Because I have a voice. I found my voice and I'm choosing to use it, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everyone who supports me, and for everyone who's joining my community and watching my growth, because it is exciting. And if you're contemplating whether or not you should be doing something like this, do it. Um, do it. It is a wonderful experience of growth. If nothing else, it's a wonderful experience of growth. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Please remember, peace isn't a place, it's a choice. Stay blissful, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. And thank you for those who are watching who didn't join the chat. Take care.